just kind of continue with the defensive theme, just the vibe maybe your new guys have created, not necessarily on the field, but off the field and in the building, and how much of that is a difference from last year?
I think we got a great collection of coaches that are great people that care about winning, but also care about players and doing things the right way. To this point, they've worked extremely well together. That's what we wanted to try to do, is create a room of a lot of ideas and a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience and a lot of know-how, and work together as a team to get things done. And throughout the season, there's going to be obstacles along the way. You got to be able to adjust and adapt. We've tried to prepare and get ready for that, and I think that's going to be important. We do well with that. But we look at Coach Lambert, Coach English, Coach Hagan. They all three have great experience. They worked extremely well together. They're all going to have a strong voice, and I think they'll do a great job.
But they have created a different vibe in that building.
Without question. I mean, we want to work hard and work with our players to help them have success. We want to do it in a positive approach where they trust what we're telling them. They trust the things that we're trying to help them improve upon, the constructive criticism we're giving them. We're doing it for the right reasons. And I feel like the relationships they've developed with the players to this point have been very positive. And obviously when the bullets fly, you've got to be able to continue to keep that relationship and work through it. But these guys have done a great job, and you throw in James Adams and Coach Biaggi in the defensive room, and I think we got a great setup.
Hey Jeff, real quick, your involvement with the defense, you said time and again you're going to be more involved. Give us a sense of what your involvement will look like during the week and then on game day.
Well, we kind of went back to me, in my terminology, what I believe in on that side of the ball. I wanted to make sure the coaches I brought in would be comfortable adapting to that, and without question, they were all in. I want to make sure that I have a footprint in there, and that I give my input, and that and not just during the season. I think this is a lot of off-season work and a lot of pre-camp work and a lot of study that we've done and put together to try to put the initial first package together that has a lot of options and ways to play defense. And when you get to the week, you have to pull back a little bit and do what you do best. But I want to make sure that we have the ability to be as aggressive as we want to be. We have the ability to be as creative as we want to be. We have the terminology and the format to get that called, and our players can understand it and have repped it at some point. And then we'll continue to narrow that down as we get towards game week. But I've been mostly an offensive guy throughout my career, and I want to make sure I go to that side of the ball and help out as much as I possibly can.
Coach, you talked a little bit about offense on defense. Can you go a little deeper into that and what you mean by that and what you want from your defense? You gave up 20 or more points in every game you played last year. So talk about what you want to do. Is it scoring-wise on defense? Dive into that a little bit.
Well, when I say play offense on defense, I want us to be aggressive in our approach as coaches first. I want us to be aggressive in our approach as a player. I want us to not be afraid to take chances and make a play and go for an interception and go for a pass breakup and go for the sack and tighten up the coverage. And, sometimes we give offenses too much credit, and we are just so scared of the big play that we're not defending everything. So you're not going to be perfect. You can't defend it all, but we want to try to defend the field as aggressive as we can. We want to try to stop the run, commit guys to the line of scrimmage, give different looks, allow guys to blitz and attack, allow guys to sit on routes if they want, and not just be scared to play their deep third, so to speak, and just let everything in front of them. So we've got to improve and work at it and allow our guys to gain confidence so that they feel good about it. But to this point, we've tried to do that. Now we've got to get into fall camp and get those guys believing that they can be playmakers all over the field, no matter what the call is.
Last thing from me, you brought two local guys here. Jackson's obviously a Central Catholic grad. George is from Westside. Talk about their influence on your program and what it means to have guys from town on your roster that are leaders in your program?
We take pride in recruiting in-state. We take pride of our in-state players. We take a lot of pride in making sure they have success. And we're going to bend over backwards to get that done. And when you get difference makers that say they want to come and make a difference, we're going to do everything we can to get that done. And I think with Rondell and David and George, we've done a pretty good job at this point. Bringing George Karlaftis and David Bell and Jackson Anthrop, those three represent the state. The program as good as anybody. George is extremely talented, has a chance to play at a high level this year and had many opportunities and chose to get it done at Purdue, and he did it his first year. Now we've got to continue to build upon that. David was the same thing, could have went anywhere in the country, came to Purdue. He wanted to make a difference, and we helped him do that while we had Rondell Moore. And he kind of sat behind the wings a little bit and did his part like an unselfish teammate, the great person he is. And then when Rondell got hurt, he took things over, and he's taken it from there. And I think he continued to improve and get better. And with Jackson, he represents our program as good as anybody. He's been a great teammate. He does a lot of things for us. He can play receiver. We can put him in the backfield. He can return kicks. He can block kicks. He can play special teams. He's been as unselfish as anybody. We've had some good player in the slot that plays his position. He wasn't able to play as much as he would like, but he continued to work and do great things. And we want to try to utilize him a little bit more this year at a lot of different spots. But three great people. We want them to have a lot of success, and we're going to bend over backwards to get that done.
Do you feel like you need to be more aggressive on offense, or at least get back to being more aggressive on offense?
Well, we want to be aggressive as far as scoring points, and we've taken pride in creating big plays and throwing it up the field. We always want to be good at that and get better at that, but yeah, we want to have a little more balance at times and figure out ways to move the chains, not just by the passing game. We want to utilize all of our weapons. We want to make sure the defense honors the run and opens up things in the play action game. But we've worked hard at all those things in the off season. We still got to go out and improve ourselves and do a game day, but that's been a plan of attack for us, and I think scoring points is the way we want to be aggressive, and that can happen in a lot of ways. But I think in order to win big football games, you always have to be able to throw the football and have success doing it. But in order to sustain that, we've got to be good at all those things.
Hey, talk real quick too, Jeff, about the offensive line. You've got two full-time coaches now devoted to working with that unit, which is kind of unique. Just give us a sense of the urgency there to get that front developed, maybe be more physical.
Well, that's always going to be an emphasis for us, is being as good as we can on the offensive and defensive line. And on the offensive line, we got a great group of guys that work hard, they compete hard, they do everything we ask. We just got to continue to find ways to get better. And that starts not just with them, it starts with me as the play caller, it starts with our offensive staff, it starts with what we're doing. With Coach Williams and Coach Callaway, those two guys have a ton of experience of coaching football, coaching the offensive line. We had Coach Callaway on staff last year in a QC role, but to allow him to get on the field and coach more hands-on and in the meeting rooms, really having two guys coaching five was better than having one. And it's happened a little bit in the NFL before, and I'm sure it's happened in college, but really to have two sets of eyes that can actually coach within the rules as much as they want, with meeting rooms, on the practice field, having an eye even game day, I think it could be beneficial. And each of them have a different personality and a different thing they bring to the table, but they've been worked together extremely well to this point. That was one of the cells that I wanted to make sure happened before we went that route, that they both understand their role. They've been great staff members, and I'm looking forward to hopefully improving this year.
With no Anthony Watts, who are the guys that you're looking to step into the defensive tackle roles? Does it start with Branson and Lawrence? I know you got a couple transfers there as well.
Offensive, defensive line, we're always trying to get better. And we've got a good group of guys on defense that have worked hard. They put in a lot of time in the offseason, in the weight room. They want to go out there and prove their worth. Really, playing great defense takes everybody doing their job, the back end, the linebackers, the D-line, and they all can make each other look better. But yes, Lawrence Johnson and Branson Deed, on the inside for us, have played some football. They've worked extremely hard. We've We've got some more additions there to give us some depth. And DeMarze Lewis, who's a transfer that we feel good about. Prince Boyd, a junior college young man we signed that has had a good offseason. Some young guys that we signed a couple years ago, and Greg Hudgens and Bryce Austin, need to continue to work hard and improve, but they're bigger bodies that have played some football for us, and I might be leaving out one or two. So the inside and interior is an important piece. We feel like we have some possible depth that we can build. We feel like scheme-wise, if we need to just play one and have some defensive ends and extra linebackers, we can do that as well, depending on how the season goes and who's healthy and who's playing well. So we want to be a little versatile in that, but I feel like those interior defense linemen have worked hard and they're ready to get out in the field.
Coach, the last one for me, you talked about the in-state rivalry out there with Indiana, but you're bringing back another in-state rivalry this year with Notre Dame. It's your first game against them, obviously, as a head coach. Can you talk about that and what that can do, obviously, for your program, getting back into a big-time event like that used to happen every year?
I think it's a great rivalry to get back going, and I'm looking forward to it. Anytime you get a chance to play a great opponent in Notre Dame, a lot of history and tradition, and the success they've had the last couple of years, it's going to be not only great for our team to play, but our fan base is going to love it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now we've got to go out there and get better and figure out a way to compete and see if we can pull out a win. But these are games you really look forward to have the opportunity to play in such a great venue against an outstanding opponent who's had a lot of success recently. Our players will be up for it. I know they'll be extremely jacked up that week, and we're going to give it everything we got.
Thanks, Coach.